Yes, we are live. Good
Yeah.
morning, planet Earth.
Oh, wow. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to IRC's first live show. I'm your host and
First,
moderator for today.
Hello.
Hi. I'm also the member for the executive board of IRC Australia and the director for Lawrence Walter Seminars. So first of all, I want to thank you, Dr. Lawrence and Jade, and to all the viewers out there for investing your time here today to discuss with me a very important topic, the future of training and education. So let me start with a very quick introduction of our speakers. Dato Dr. Lawrence Walter Ng, Asia's top speaker, chief master trainer, founded Lawrence Water Seminars 35 years ago. And Lawrence Water Seminars corporate training has reached to 2 million participants, 14 countries, which include Singapore, Indonesia, Thailand, China, Guam, and Spain. He also written 8 books, and the most recent one, Secrets of the Mental Warrior 2.0. I'm also very honored today to have Jade Sciascia here. Thank you,
hi
Jade, for your
Jade.
time
Yes.
today.
Good morning, Jade.
Hi.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah,
It's
Jade
an
is
honor
a
for me to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. Jade is the Senior Academic Officer for ACS Distance Education and also the International Business Manager for IRC. And Jade, you're also the key person involved in ACS Academic Business Unit. And I've been in the business for 12 years. And I quite like what I see on your LinkedIn, on your dedication in the wider objective of empowerment through education. I love that.
Oh, thank
So,
you. Yeah,
yeah. A little
I'm
glimpse about
passionate.
ACS. Yeah, a little glimpse about ACS, founded by the visionary John Mason 42 years ago. It started as a correspondence school, and now with more than 600 online courses. And through ACS partners, ACS is present worldwide in US, UK, Singapore, and New Zealand. So if I
Yeah.
may, I'll jump straight into our discussion for today. So maybe I'll start with Dr. Lawrence. Tell us more about the changing landscape in the training industry in Malaysia.
In Malaysia, I think that many countries are now going through MCO second, third, or fourth wave. And a lot of them are still in a dreamy mode.
Yeah.
And I discovered there are basically three kinds of groups right now in the current pandemic. The first group is still complaining and blaming and says, why are we having this? Whose fault is it? Blaming game. The second group are entrepreneurs who have moved their business online. However, this group I discovered from dialogues and Zoom sessions, they are kind of visionary going forward, but their gang, their team, their staff are not. They are asking, boss, am I going to do this? Are you sure this is the direction? So we need to get the leaders to empower their people to move the business, the training business, the education business into the future. And the third group is just recent, just like 2 3 weeks ago. I've been hearing this continuously on the radio, on the television. Just a few prominent people talking about it, and one of it was the CEO of Microsoft. He said, "Live with the pandemic. The pandemic, the virus will not go away.
Oh
It
my
will be
God.
there for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. So live with it rather than avoid, rather than lockdown, or rather than this measure, that measure. Why don't we live with it? If we live with it, then hello, we will start to look at the future more seriously. Well, to me, those are the three groups of people. And my question is, which group are you? Are you the first group where are still complaining, or are you the second group where you move forward but your team is not behind you, or are you the third group? I'm going to live with this. This is going to be the future, and this is the way forward. No more excuse, no more blame. So that's in a nutshell what's happening. Yeah.
Mm, mm.
What
So,
about
yeah, so
Jade? How's your
Jade,
organization?
yeah,
Yeah.
you were a tutor. Jade, I think you
Yeah.
transitioned from that. Yeah. You wanted to say something?
Yeah. Well, Yeah, I mean, when I talk with colleagues here, we see a similar situation exactly here. We would identify that there are three sort of groups or three responses, I guess. And the first one, and the one that we think will do best, are the ones who are going to strengthen from this. So they are the ones who have got that mindset to change and do see that that's the only way forward out of this. They are the other ones, like you say, they're just going to try and hang in there. They're going to hold on and just hope things will return. But we don't believe things will ever return to what they were pre-COVID. And then there's the third group for us that we see there's an emergence of sort of startup new businesses at the moment who are sort of seeing the opportunity here and trying to make their way and find a place as a result of what's happened. So, but definitely changing is the only way that any business, whether it's a school, a college, or whatever, is going to be able to survive this.
Fantastic.
And like what you say, change. And why don't people change? Why don't people change? Mindset.
Very difficult.
It's locked.
And I think you touched on it when you said it's about the leadership, and it's about having that strong leadership to take teams forward.
And it's it's interesting because, like, in Lawrence Water Seminars business, I know when you started off, Dr. Lawrence, 35 years ago, it was a very much face-to-face and business, but then we moved it to online due to pandemic. And I can really say for sure that the team in Lawrence Water Seminars is very inspired by the speed of your digital adoption. So, by the way, thank you so much for all the team right there. Jasper, Rita, I see all of you guys. Thank you for joining us today. And also some of our customers, I think Kat Long, thank you for joining. Hello, Dr. David. Happy morning. Thank you for being our supporter all the time.
Good morning,
good morning. So if I can move on a little bit, talking a little bit currently what's happening, it's very interesting to see an overall spike in online education versus an impact in the training industry. So I guess my question is to Dr. Lawrence, like, how do you think the training industry is kind of evolving with the pandemic?
I think a lot of training companies are just gripping around, trying to copycat each other. Well, that's the best way to learn, copy, paste. And because of that, so many people are doing free courses, free introductory, free this and free that, until I believe viewers are getting so confused and so mashed up in their mind because there are so many free courses to go through. And in the end, they end up being said, you have to sign up more. You have to sign up for another course in order to learn more. That's a good way to start the online business. However, I see another group of people who is more serious, who wants to pay, and more people who wants to get real information. So they don't mind paying for an introduction course. They don't mind paying to understand, and they're serious. I've seen people where they have 1,000 people for free course, and suddenly it drops down to 200 people because this guy was overselling or just talking too much, and not addressing and customizing the message to the people. So my message to those who are going online training is really give value to your people who are listening in. Make sure that they feel that they are getting a tree knowledge at least, so that when they leave your Zoom session or online session, they will say, yes, this is what I'm going to do. This is a great idea. I learned one important thing, and I'm glad I paid for it. Those people who didn't pay for it, I bet you, Jade, I don't know whether you know, they never even use it.
They forget it. They forget it.
Write it down. They never even write it down. Although it's a valuable piece of advice, but they never do it. So my advice is get out of giving free courses. Learn how to start paying. Because when you start charging, guess what you do? You prepare. What do? You make sure the content is all linked together. It makes sense instead of shooting in the air and then people wondering where you're going, and you could get a smaller group of people, but it's targeted group. You know,
Yeah.
what do you
Targeted,
think?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I think what you said is right too, Dr. Lawrence. There's so many new freelance or online training provider. You kind of start thinking whether or not how credible they are and how valid is their information as well. But I also notice, I think in the online education world, that's kind of like an overall spike, right? Especially in Australia, like Jade, share with us, like with ACS. I know you guys are really like, imploding in terms of your business. It's doing well.
Yeah, we
Mm.
did, like this time last year for sure. Look, I think it's very simple what happened last year. People were literally locked down in their homes, and so they were looking for some sort of outlet. So they turned to education for their short courses. I mean, ACS offer courses from 20-hour courses right through to 700-hour courses here. So, but yeah, I think people just looked around and reached out and thought, what can I do with my time? That was one factor. And we had a lot of students that returned to complete courses they had enrolled in previously. But also, of course, on the sad side of the pandemic, a lot of people lost their jobs here. And so people were forced to then, look, I need to transition, I need to upskill, I need to retrain, what can I do? And so they had to do something, and they had to do it with flexibility. So they were looking online for something that suited. So that was one side of it. But I'd like to also make a point as well about what I see, which is really exciting, is, we talk about this idea that the market is saturated with online course providers. And yes, there are a lot out there. But I've seen a couple of new ones come out recently that I've had some contact with through IARC. And they're particularly niche, where they've got not niche in terms of the subjects, but how they are servicing and what they're delivering to the students. So for example, on the back of the pandemic, not only is someone looking for a course, but they're also looking for career support. They're looking for that holistic, help me have the education and learn what I need to know and the skills, develop those skills, but also connect me to industry and help me with my resume and help me, find suitable employers and connect me with them. So it's a much bigger service. And I don't know if others are going to have to follow that and have add-on services as well, if that's going to become a new thing. But I certainly think it adds a new element, and I think it's really refreshing and it's exciting.
Yeah. Fantastic.
I agree
Fantastic.
with that, Jay. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
People need help nowadays. They need help, and the best way to give them help is to give them new knowledge. And I always say, when you have a new knowledge, you get a new energy. You feel like, wow, I got some solution, and then it will gravitate them towards a new direction. So I think for trainers and educators, we're doing a wonderful job with such an important element for the transformation right now.
True. So Jade, I'm very interested to know, like in ACS, what are the things that you guys are planning to do differently to kind of adapt to the current situation, or like in the future?
Yeah, look, it's actually, again, it's interesting because before COVID, ACS had slowed down a little bit of their product development. We were very much focused on maintaining and servicing our current students. But with the influx of enrollments, we had to, obviously we have to service those students, but we had all these resources to look at developing new courses. So ideas that had sat, for the last 3 or 4 years, just sitting, waiting to find the time and the resources to do it. We were able to go out, recruit new staff, which was great to have fresh blood and fresh life, new skills, new people on board from different backgrounds coming in to write new courses. So we've developed a few new courses, maybe, 6 or 7 new courses just in the last few months. Which for me, as a course writer and developer, is exciting to be part of.
Example of some of these courses?
Yeah, so marsupials is one, very niche, obviously. So anybody who's working with animals, it's a wildlife course. So forestry management or forestry foundations, again, it's a horticulture, agriculture-based course. But we do have business courses. We have at the moment, we've got a really exciting course in AI, which is artificial intelligence, which should be launched in about a month from now. So we have such a range of courses across all industries. But yeah, just seeing us be able to go forward again, because we then take these courses out, not just for our students, but for affiliates as well. So it's opening up more courses for them to be able to offer to their students. So that's been really great to see ACS expand and have a bit of growth in the last year.
Fantastic. Yeah. So, so for Lawrence Water seminars as well, Dr. Lawrence, I'd be interested to know, like, what's your plans? Like, what are you going to do in the future to adapt to the current situation?
Well, there are a couple of ideas. I think the main idea that we like to help the majority of the people is to change the mindset, especially in the social media, because a lot of people think that social media is for sending emoji, putting your food, your spaghetti, or in Malaysia we call it the nasi lemak, and then telling people what you're doing. No, I says no. Online is the new business game. Yeah. I even tell people online is your ATM machine. So we have to change the mindset first. If you don't change the mindset, you never go. I've seen CEOs, entrepreneurs, and some of their key sales team. I look at their IG. They only got 50 followers. Hello, 100 followers. You need 10,000 followers to start with. And the last posting was 2 months ago. Like last month, they never even posted anything. And they say, so I'm too shy, I'm too afraid. Change that mindset. I think the first thing people need to do is to switch to online, is to change the mindset. That's why the favorite saying, oh, I changed my mind. Yeah, change your mind correctly. So the sentence should be, online is your new ATM machine. Yeah, if you look at it as a new ATM machine, then you start finding way to make money.
Yeah, but really, I mean, Dr. Lawrence, social media is really something that we do on a casual basis. And really, that's where we really post about our kids, our family. But do you really, can we really earn or increase sales through social media?
Well, last week I had 6 inquiries. 4 of them signed up. Yesterday, a celebrity came into the social media and says, I didn't know you. I saw you on the social media and I decided to speak to you, and now she's a client. So every day we're getting people, we're getting business, we're getting people. Why I always say this is the social media is a huge marketing area. There are lots of customers that you never talk about. My book is also on the social media, and 90% of people buy my book, I do not know them. Those who know me already bought my book. So what we need now is a new market, a new area. That's a very famous university in Malaysia. It's called Creative University of Lim Kok Weng. I do not know whether you know him. Malaysian, right? University in creative arts. And his biggest business is in African, in the African continent. His biggest business in Europe, not Malaysia. And I bet you there are hundreds and thousands of students going online right now. So when you're online, the future of training and education, the world is your market. Not your social posting emoji. Hello, I'm here. Nice smile, nice dress. No.
Can I please add something?
Yeah, of course.
To that, is that okay?
Yes.
With social media, I think, yes, Zian, I think we do use it on a personal level, but I think that the purpose of say ACS, like say John Mason, for example, who has so many followers and so many connections, is because that's what's fed into John's way of thinking and John's business over the years. It's that connection with people. So we, when we develop a course, we don't just have an idea and think, what will we do? We put it out onto different platforms, and we get feedback, and we find if it's got traction or not. And John connects with industry on social media, so he's using those platforms to remain connected with industry and also to have those conversations. And someone said once, and it stuck with me, that the internet is not a thing, it's a place. And so we need to be in that place, and we need to be in that space to find and connect with our market, maybe, or just with people.
Yeah, I like that idea, Jade.
It's not just even about promotion and brand awareness either. It is about a genuine place that people can chat and connect. So
I totally agree to that. And the thing with social media is everyone is on it, and if you're not, you're kind of being left behind. It's not quite a choice, it's like the world is moving towards that. So from a business point of view, you have to do that as well. And very interestingly, Dr. Lawrence, I also noticed that one of the trainings that you did recently with a Japanese supermarket, where you helped the company to transform from an offline business to online, especially due to the pandemic. Tell us more about that one.
Well, the footfall to the supermarket and shopping centers have fallen tremendously. Previously, there were 500,000 people on a weekend. Now there are 500 people wearing masks, some in PPE, some in cute masks. They're so scared to go in. And some of these supermarkets have forgotten that their customers are buying online from competitors. So they started to worry when dust falls on the cans of food, when the bottles are starting to have, look at that, it's dust. Nobody has even shifted it, So when we talk to them, we introduce the idea of live selling. Live. That means you go on your handphone live now and then say, hello, we have this frying pan that's non-sticky from Japan. And, and some people have sold like 14 frying pan in just a minute, and then people come over and they continue to buy one. So my philosophy is always this: if you don't promote it, people don't know. You could be so good, you could have the best product, the best solution in the world, but if the world doesn't know about it, hello, who's gonna know? So the social media is free. All right, I like to repeat that: FREE is free. So if you put it on, what happened? People whom you do not know look at it. Oh, I didn't know you have a sponge that can clean everything, or a mop that you don't even have to touch it, or you could have vegetables. Well, I didn't know your strawberries came from Korea that fast, Oh, I like to have it. So they go and visit. And once they visit the supermarket, this Japanese organization called Aeon, guess what happened? They live with fish. They live with, a steak. They live with some cans of baked beans and ice cream, Haagen-Dazs, and wow, from a $20 deal, they go out with a $200 deal. So it's been a very successful campaign, I believe, to shift. And there are 42 supermarkets. Can you imagine if nobody goes there? Wow. So I think that's a really fantastic project,
but I think also this whole idea about online live selling is probably more relevant, I don't know, in Asia, but what's happening in Australia? Like, do you guys do stuff like that? Like, do you, like Jade, like do you guys do live selling, or as a consumer, do you even participate in that?
No, I don't think that it's, look, I'm speaking from the microcosm of ACS and IARC, right? So I don't know, or this environment, I should say. I don't know that it's something that we are moving into at this stage. When I speak with the tech guys here, they will tell me that's 2 to 3, maybe possibly 4 years down the line in terms of our plan. There's a lot of reasons for that, I guess, and when I get feedback as well from the members that I speak to, the biggest hurdle that I hear and the biggest barrier to this is always time. People are so time poor, it's prioritizing. And so it's a bit of an effort, an extra effort for some people. If you're talking about attending something like this, is that what you're talking about?
That's why people,
using this as a tool.
Yeah, that's why people have like social media companies to manage the social media for an organization. But
Yes.
I just wanted to say hello to some of our viewers out there. So for those of
Okay.
you who just joined us, thank you so much for spending your time here today. I have Dr. Lawrence Walter Ng from Lawrence Walter Seminars and also Jade Sciascia from ACS and
Hi.
representing IRC as well. So Rosie, thank
Hi.
you so much for joining. Farah, Fiza, thank you so much for joining us today. We also have giveaways for our active viewers. For those of you who just put your hearts or put some comments, ask any questions, we have some 5 ebook bundle lists from ACS and also from Lawrence Walter Seminars, a super online community which Dr. Lawrence personally runs it monthly. Yeah. So, yes. Yeah. Yes. So coming back to our topic today, the future of training education. So as an education or training provider watching this, I'm kind of thinking if I'm an IRC member and I'm watching this, so what do you recommend for us to do to remain relevant in these times? Dr. Lawrence, you
Yeah.
want to say to that?
Oh, I see. I think the members of this beautiful organization should learn to collaborate, right? Instead of competing outside, because Asia is a big market, and there's so many organizations that are looking for unique courses, unique knowledge that can help them in different ways. And many of the educators and trainers have different ways to present. And there's so many types of customer. Some who like knowledge, slides, a visual. Some would just like to just listen. Some want to engage themselves, want to play on the internet. Some like contests. They prefer some kind of uh, multiple online games, even rather than just listen. So there's so many types of people. I discovered that the online community is more complicated than your real customers. On one day they are very moody, and one day they can feel excited about you. The next day they can get disappeared for a while. So
Yeah.
I always believe that we need, if you want to do this online business, the future is create a community of diehard followers who always be there. And if you can't count 100 of your people, then your community is lost. Some people just engage their audience only once. No, you got to engage them every month. Every month. That's why we have this social super online community where people do business, they do
Right.
networking, they share knowledge, and everybody's allowed to promote each other, what business you have. And so it's collaboration. Example, we have many companies who are selling cars there. People are doing investment, people who are educators, they're trainers. They go and talk. We give them the opportunity, and they love this community. Why? Because it's so-called very enlightening. Because a lot of people say, "Oh, you are a trainer. Don't come into my Zoom," or you're selling investment. No, I don't like you. No, there's so many types of customers. Some customers want A, someone B, someone B plus. So my keyword is number one, online. You have to change your mindset. It's an ATM machine. Then you start doing business. Number two, collaborate. Don't compete. If you collaborate, right, guess what? Suddenly your business can go not 10% growth, can go 300%, 500%. Like one of my friend, he did a Zoom 4 months ago. It was 70 people. 2 weeks ago, he did it was 7,000 people. He says,
Wow.
what? Yes, from
Yeah,
70
wow.
to 7,000. So there's no limit. Physically, we cannot put 7,000 unless we have a stadium.
Yeah.
But online we can even go up to 70,000 people. And we
Yeah.
heard of famous speakers. They go to like 2 million people online. But if you
Yeah.
don't change your mind, you say, "Oh, that's not for me." Hello, here's your excuses coming up.
Yeah.
Here's your
Mm.
blaming game coming up,
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
have to change that. That's the future. The future
Yeah.
is how you look at it online.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Lawrence. I agree with you, and I wanted to add to that. I think a lot of people, with a very saturated market right now, people are also looking at a bit more deeper connection with people, and also wanting to add more value to themselves. Yeah. So, what do you think, Jade, from your point of view? If I'm a member or if I'm an education provider watching this, what do you recommend that we do to remain relevant and to really kind of keep up with the trend? Yeah.
Well, firstly, can I just also I wanted to add that I completely agree as well. And one of the principles of IRC is that we come together to share good practice, and by doing so, then we can strengthen each other. And so we're all this notion that we're in this together, that you are connected to a body where we are sharing to help each other. But with the individual schools, one of the things I think is really important is to recognize that your educators that are working with the students, they have to grow and they have to change as a result of changes in the industry as well. So we've seen a lot of educators coming on who've maybe come from mainstream education, or just different backgrounds, but it's a very different environment teaching in the online space versus the classroom, and requires many different skills. So even, for example, if we think about the use of body language in a traditional classroom, body language it obviously gives so much in terms of the communication and how we come across, how people perceive us, and they get so much from that body language. And when you remove that in the online space, we've then got to fill that with something else as educators. So from a business perspective, I think really leaders and management need to be looking at the staff who at the chalkboard, if you like, at the coalface with those students, and how they're performing and how they're taking their students forward. Because it's not just the same as that traditional classroom learning and teaching. And I know that from experience, having come from a classroom environment myself originally and moving into the online education space, it's very different. So I think that's a big thing to think about, upskilling our educators and helping them.
I'm totally with you on that, Jade. One of the courses that I signed myself up recently is this course called Digital Body Language. And it's so true, because when we do trainings face to face, the level of engagement that and the level of skills that we need is totally different. And versus if you do it online, purely online. And the third is the hybrid training, where we combine online and offline training together. Right, Dr. Lawrence?
Yes. Right now, we are in discussion with a big organization where they have 40,000 staff, and we're going to do trainer. We're going to teach them hybrid style, which means we put 10 people in front and 400 people on the Zoom. And we want to teach the trainer of the organization how to handle that. Why? Because in a year or two, when the vaccines have been poked into our arms already, and we are a little bit more healthier and immune, and maybe it will be the other way around. It will be 50 people physical and still 400 people. So we need to handle both. The new trainer in the future must handle both. There will be people in front of you, and they will be people online.
And that's a totally different skill.
Yes. So
I agree.
All trainers, all educators must learn hybrid training. There will be a camera looking at you and sending out your whole knowledge to the world.
And the key question is, how do we then engage both the offline and the online participant at the same time while delivering the impact when we educate and when we train? Right. So I also wanted to just acknowledge one of the questions that comes in from the comments. I think, hello, Rosie. Thank you, Rosie, for joining. Thank you, Faris. I really appreciate all your time for you guys to come. So, Rosie, you have a question.
Rosie is from the body shop in Vietnam.
Oh, wow. Hi, Rosie. Thank you for joining. So you have a question on how to make the best promotion within online community. Yeah. Dr. Lawrence, would you want to add to that?
Well, you must understand that the online community is 10,000 posts in 1 minute. There are 10,000 people posting information. So you have to be different. You have to change. The key word is innovate. First one is you must change your mind. Online is my ATM machine. Number two, you must learn to collaborate, don't compete. Number three, you got to learn to be what we call a yellow frog. You know? So a lot of frogs are green in color. If you are a green frog, you are like hundreds of them. But if you have one yellow frog standing out, guess what happened? Everybody will stop. What's that? What's that? Oh, that's interesting. That's different. Then they'll stop. We call people in the social community not people. They're not people. Who are they? They are scrollers. Scroll. They take a handphone. They go.
Right.
Yeah.
They can go through 88 floors in 1 minute. So Rosie, if you want to get online properly, make sure your promo is a yellow frog. What's a yellow frog? It's different. It's special. You know, like today, I have a posting on my IG today. I'm using green screen technology. So I'm speaking to myself. I'm like 5'10", and there's a small one about 5 inches talking to me at the same time. So I'm using this kind of technology, AI, and so people are like looking, huh? That's two of you there at the same time, you know? How did that happen? Yeah. So if you're a yellow frog, then you can see everything starts to change. Because a lot of people are saying, hi, I have this bottle. Hello, I have this shampoo. Hello, I have this hair toner. It's the same. Who's going to look at you? So, yellow frog. Rosie, write it down. When I can fly over to Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam, I'll give you a yellow frog to remind you.
Yes. Thank you, Rosie, for the question. I totally agree with you. You have to be different. I also would like to give you this new ACS ebook bundle list. So do connect with Jade. Thank you so much for your question.
Yes.
And Carmel, thank you so much for joining. Yes, I totally agree with you. There's so many learners who drop out because of online courses, not just because of a poor teaching techniques. They feel so bored. They're not, as a student, when they join, they're not engaged. So it is then the responsibility of the educator and the trainer to really engage with the participants online. And that's a totally new skill together. Yeah. So yes, Rosie, see everything and start to change. Correct. So moving on to my next question.
There are 12 ways. There are 12 ways to make your participant engaged and attracted. And I just shared with you one, yellow frog. This evening we have a session, but it's completely sold out. Right? I'm surprised. So many people want to learn. It's called the art of telling stories to sell. You don't sell by talking about product or feature. You must learn to tell stories. So tonight is 19 minutes. How to tell stories, So there are very specific topics like this that Lawrence Walter Seminar do to get people who have offline business to go online and suddenly see, I only got 3 people. Oh, I only got 10 viewers. What do I do? How do you build that community? So don't just go online. You got to build that social community.
Okay.
That's
I mean, we're all in a pandemic right now. It's probably worse in Malaysia and in UK, not quite much in Australia. I think in Australia, you guys are like a bird. So I guess my question is this even the best time to invest in education or training? Like if I'm a future member watching this right now, why would an online, why would an education or training provider want to connect with the industry body like IARC? What's your view on that, Jade?
Okay. Look, education is constant. So there is always a time for a business to start up or get going in education if we're thinking of new startups. Well, why would someone connect with us? I think you've already touched on the fact that the market is that saturated with online schools. They're popping up all over the place, and there are questions about legitimacy. So again, connecting with us really gives the clientele an indication of credibility. When a school comes to us for organizational membership, we really dissect what we can about their business. So there are 6 elements now within the framework for excellence that go out with the application form. And we're looking at the school as a business. So we're looking at their financial viability, their human resources, not just focused on the courses and the course delivery, but we're looking at the big picture. And, you know, the registrations team, they really do a bit of investigation. So anyone that's joining, a prospective student that's joining with an IARC member knows that that member has gone through that investigation, and that we have picked them apart and we've checked them out. And so, yes, I mean, they are obviously legitimate. So that then goes back again to the students. They know they've got that reassurance, that confidence in the school and in the business. And with just one thing I'd like to say about how the application or the framework is set up. Embedded in those 6 criteria is two really important elements. It's the student's experience and it's the staff professionalism. And so that is our focus. So even though we have got those 6 criteria that we dig apart and we pick apart and we're looking for, under all of that, at the core of all of that, is the students and the staff because we know that the staff are a resource for the students. Okay, so when we think about who the educators are and who the trainers are, who are writing these courses, those people are the resource that are going to take those students forward and take them places. So we really do look at them and what they can offer and what they bring, and plus how that then follows through for the student and what the experiences that they can expect. So it's a really robust application. And I found myself working for IARC that people who do apply find gaps in their own businesses, and it really helps them to focus down and think further on what they can offer and how they can improve what they're doing. So I hope that gives you some insight.
Yeah, and also while they are in that process, they actually do this process of self-realization and then realize that, hey, there's a big gap between this and, you know, these international standards, and I got to keep up, or rather, raise my standards a little bit. Yeah. And I wanted to add to that. So, yeah, essentially IRC is like a quality control system for education and courses in international education, which means that our course content are now kind of certified as international standards. So even I'm speaking to, Dr. David, who, if you're planning to have an aesthetic a training in the future, you might want to consider this as well. Yeah. So, but for Dr. Lawrence, do you think for you, is this even like quite the best time to invest in a certification body like that?
Yeah, I think it's so important to sometimes take our knowledge, our courses, and ask an independent person to validate it. If they say, no, you're not good, then we'll go back and repair the gaps and improve on it. At least we have somebody to say, that's the standard, minimum standard required. So when we are certified by IARC, then we know, international, right? So we know that we have reached that standard in education or in training. So I think that many people should provide their materials to your organization for certification so that they know where they are standing. Some trainers, I've seen them, they go on the Zoom and they talk. They don't even have an action plan at the end. Okay, end of session, bye-bye. Hello, the students are left hanging. So what do I do now? You have to have certain SOP. After every lesson, what's your action plan? Which is related to your business, not just an action plan. So even that is missing. And some trainers you mean I should have one? Yeah. If you go to a certification body, they'll give you 7 minimum things that you must do. Setting objective is number one. Number one, if you're not clear in your objective, if as a trainer you're not clear, your audience is also not clear. So if you're confused or just rattling off, your audience also feel the same. And then they give a bad image to the online people. But if you have the IARC chart, wow, I know there's certain process SOP system that they follow. Is that right, Jade? Am I promoting?
That is absolutely right. Yes, no, that is right. And can I again add just one more point to that? Obviously, Lawrence Walter Seminars came on as a member with IARC when we had our former framework in place for courses, and that was fantastic at the time. But we did and have been reviewing, and it's very complex to review a system of course certification. And so at the moment we are going through that process of coming up with new criteria, new well, it is criteria essentially, and benchmarks that set the standards that you're referring to, you know, say my course meets a certain standard. So it's a very complex process, but our members also feed into that as well. So connection with the members is something else that's important, because like you guys are the experts in this industry, right? So you can feed into IRC as well and help the new members coming on board say, hey, this is something you could look at, this is something to think further on. So we feed into each other through the development of the system itself. And that improves standards. So I just wanted to acknowledge that point.
Thank you.
And in addition to that, I think our standards are not just quite determined by one person. I think it feeds into the system of a board member, which comprise of educators, very experienced educators from Australia and the UK board as well. Am I right, Jade? Yeah. So
that's
tell me,
right. And those people come from like from various locations, like now yourself, Sian. Thank you for joining the board. So, yeah, exactly. And also, so if I'm a new member or future member watching this, how can I join IRC? Simply contact us. Just email us. This is the best way. We have had at times we've had the application form on the website, and we find that having conversation and talking through the process and the application and what we expect and how it works is way better than just downloading the application form cold off the website. We prefer to have a chat and get a feel for organizations as well, and just have that connection. So contact us, email us, and we can pick up the phone at a mutual time and have a chat.
I like that. The human touch must still be there.
Yes.
That's why
I think so.
That's why Xian has registered Lawrence Walter Seminar a couple of years ago, and now she's even a board member. Wow. I'm so proud of her. Yes. And you know, contributing in the Gen Y generation, giving a new push or new direction in some way, so that you know everybody will find this whole community evolving to the future of online and social media. You know?
Yes. And I think also
it's that diverse voice that leads to change, isn't it?
Yes, that's right. And I also think that the involvement of Lawrence Walter Seminars in IRC is kind of an opportunity to connect with other members as well, and kind of explore the trends that are relevant in your business. And, you know, I'll be keen to know like how you guys do business in ACS, and even just connect with other board members on a deeper level as well. Okay, so coming back to this, when we talk about the future of training and education, I think one simply cannot ignore the very important topic of artificial intelligence. So maybe we start with Dr. Lawrence. How is Lawrence Walter Seminars progressing in that area?
Yeah, well, we were surprised there's so many technology out there. And one of the most fundamental idea of training is know where you are and where you want to go through and what's the gap. But knowing where you are, assessing yourself, the old way is 200 questions, and then people get bored halfway and they cheat, and you know. So AI, one of the AI technology we have is voice simulation. You just have to say a certain kind of a sentence for about 30 seconds to 1 minute, and then the computer will print out and tell you who you are. Imagine that. It's incredible. They can tell you this is your character by the way you read those sentences, by some kind of algorithm, some kind of, you know, percentile of the people that have gone through this. They can detect that you are an introvert. They can detect that you are overzealous in your meetings and you're not allowing other members to talk. So shut up and listen. But until an AI tells you that, then you will get shocked, huh? In 1 minute, you can tell me what my mother-in-law tells me all the time. you
Wow.
know, wow, I must
Mm.
listen to this AI.
Yeah.
And we have
Yeah.
also got another AI technology where people just have to understand how they think, and when they follow a certain steps and go into this computer-based system, they discover that, hey, I'm surprised I'm like this. This is very important because this is happening in the medical field already, but it's not in training. So this is the latest. My wife is a doctor and
Okay.
she does DNA tests.
Mm.
What's a DNA test? It discovered how prone you are to cancer, prone of you to muscular injury if you take exercise. Your back muscles have been designed by your generation before you, and it's not so strong. So it tells you your weakness. So when you have a DNA test or profile of your food tolerance or allergy, you avoid that or improve on it.
Mm.
So
Mm.
same. So this
Mm.
DNA testing has been like 5-10 years, but to find out who you are using AI, this is new, a couple of months. And I think that a lot of trainers and educators should tell people. Example,
Yeah.
yesterday I had a celebrity who came online and said that I just took a course on business management. I says, no, I asked a few questions, went through a little idea, and said, "You don't need business management. You need marketing. You need PR. You are a
Mm.
celebrity. You don't need to handle HR, administration. That you need to know how to market yourself, to promote yourself." And he
Mm.
said, "Why didn't you tell me earlier?" I said, "That's why you need a gap analysis, artificial intelligence tool to find out where you are, what's your gap." So a lot of
Mm.
people get
Yeah.
registered in the wrong course because there's no assessment. So that's the future. The future
Yeah.
is
That's interesting.
to find out whether
Wow.
you're on the right course or not.
Yeah.
In
Just
1 minute,
Okay.
we can tell you that
yeah.
you are right or wrong. Your
Yeah.
choice.
And I
Otherwise,
want.
it's otherwise
Mm.
it's your father's choice. you know.
And I wanted to add to that. I think with Lawrence Water Seminars, we partner with two company, which is Momentum Assessor and Aquera, where we leverage on artificial intelligence technology to really understand the emotional intelligence of a client. So for example, when we do
Yeah.
coaching, rather than spending 2 or 3 sessions trying to get to know how they are thinking, we actually use this technology and leverage on it. And really at the first get-go, we know, kind of have a gauge, a more accurate gauge on what they are feeling and what they are thinking at that. Yeah. But I'll be
Wow.
interested to know, like Jade, for you guys in
Mm.
ACS, how are you guys progressing in that area? You mentioned something about a course.
Yes. Well, I think that's very sophisticated what you're talking about. I'm going to bring it back down a little onto a practical level. So what we do, so ACS has their own learning management system that they have developed over the years. And so we've got really awesome programmers who work to try and improve that all the time, of course. And so what I see as an opportunity from the course writing perspective is to look at how, say, we would quiz students. So we have online quizzes. And as a small example, if we were going through, the students were going through the quizzes and the same question was incorrect time after time, each student just struggling with that same question, then obviously the technology is there to identify that. And that then feeds back to the course writers to look at what's going on with this course and where we have the gaps and what we can improve. I mean, that's a very simple example, but that's realistic for ACS and what we do here. We certainly can't use AI to get into people's minds yet, I'm afraid, but I look at it that way. And I also, from a tutor perspective, I do see it coming through in people's work as well, though, and I see how people are using technology for their text, how it's changing how we write. Obviously, we've got a lot of predictive text and things that's been around for a while, but and we've got with Gmail, Easy Compose or something, Smart Compose with Gmail, and where computers are thinking what we want to say. But I see that coming through with some people's work. So, but yeah, that's an overview of how ACS might use it at the moment.
I think that's the future. The future is we're going to use robots. We're going to use artificial intelligence.
Definitely.
Who's going to help us identify, how to become better. I hope in the future they will give us a chip and just implant it inside, and then you can do
that sounds dangerous.
You can do selling easily. You can download a skill like the Matrix movie. The movie producers are futurists. They are futurists. They think ahead. Correct? Yeah. I like this guy in Matrix. What he wants, he wants to fight. So he just download 5 years of kung fu fighting, taekwondo, and karate, and suddenly he can zoom.
Yeah. So we have to be smarter than a robot and really quite fine-tune our skills as a human, like our soft skills, having initiative and be proactive in that sense. So even communication skills, which I'm sure an AI or robot can't keep up with that. So maybe before I close, Dr. Lawrence or maybe Jade, if you want to add a few more words or kind of wrap up the session for today.
Well, for me to wrap up 3 things again, online is an ATM machine. I want you to write it down on a piece of paper and stick it in front of you. I tell you, the next few days, you change your mind because your mindset is stopping you. It's not a social media. It's not an emoji. There's so many hundreds of emoji to post. No, it's an ATM machine. We just made a couple of $1,000 just the last few days. And I'm sure next week there'll be money coming in because we changed our mindset. Number 2, collaborate with people. Collaborate with friends, who are in the same industry. Because the social media audience are so variety, right? A typical marketing program says you have 5 types of customers, right? Customer who is 40 years and above, customers who are spendthrift, customers who want lifestyle. In the social media, there are 5,000 types of customers, and every one of them are different. And I'm sure you have your group of customers. And the final one is innovation. What's innovation? Yellow frog. Don't do a typical course. It will die. Nobody will look at it. You got to have a course that stands out so that people look at it and says, "Wow, that's different." Why? Because there are 10,000 posts per minute. 10,000 posts per minute. And how much can we take? We can only take 300 posts or maybe 500 posts a day. That's all you can look at. And then your mind is really like too much information overload, So you got to stand out and you have to find a way to do it. So in simplicity, it's time to move online. Online is the new game. Learn it before you get left out. That's my summary.
Fantastic. How about you, Jade? No?
Yeah. Jade, you should get people certified.
Pardon?
You should get more people who wants to do their training certified so that they have a minimum SOP covered.
Yes. So talking from an IARC perspective, I would like to say that, we are a small and friendly team, right? So I want to encourage people to connect with us and get in touch. Okay, because I do wonder sometimes, you have a website and you have a profile but you're the face behind it all, but we're real people and we want to help other people move forward. So if you're a small startup and you're just getting into an education business for the first time, just pick up the phone and we have a chat. And I go off the phone when I speak with people often and they say, "Thank you so much. You've made it sound really achievable and really easy." And so look, just connect with us, connect with me and my team, and we can you can see how easy it can be, I guess. It doesn't have to be difficult, this application to join, okay? And secondly, I'd just like to put a comment out there to anybody who's listening from a student perspective, because there's a lot of people out there who may be studying right now or looking at upskilling and transitioning because they've come off the back of something that's negative. Again, connect with your school and connect with your tutors. They're there to support you. So that's for me, speaking personally, that's what I love to do. I like to help people move forward and contribute and make a difference. So I can only say, reach out to the school where you've enrolled and lean on them and use them as a resource, because you've paid money as well to enroll in a course. And so get what you deserve as a customer, as a client, and as a student together. So that would be my advice.
That's wonderful. I like that. It's so sincere.
Thank you.
To help.
I know. So if you're a training or education provider watching this and kind of looking for a simple recognition to distinguish quality post-secondary education, I really encourage and highly recommend that you connect to us at our website below, and also connect to Jade. And also, if you're looking to kind of upskill your organization in terms of mindset change, sales, and even digital culture acceleration, do connect with Lawrence Walter Seminars. We would love to have a chat with you. And if you're an education provider looking to partner on a more international scale, do connect with Jade from ACS. Yes. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And I want to take this time to acknowledge the LWS team and the technical team that's behind this. Thank you so much for your support. Dr. Lawrence, for your time, and Jade as well. Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate all your time today.
Thank you, Jade. I think it's a wonderful way of telling people, all right, what the future is, you know?
Thank you. Yes, fantastic. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
So we should do this more often.
Yes. And if you're watching this at a later time in wherever you are right now, put down your comments below or drop us an email. We would love to hear your thoughts on this and banter further about what your thoughts are of the future of training and education. And even if you're a member of IARC, we want to know what you're doing. And so we can all learn from each other as well. Yes. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Carmel. Thank you, Jasper. Thank you, Pizza. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Thank you, Jade.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Have a happy yellow frog.